Center for Hearing to tell me all about it. Good morning to you, Amanda.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for stopping in today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and so hearing loss is something, I think it's something that we'll probably notice around the holidays more when we're with our family and in close proximity to them. So what are some things that people should look for if they think that they're experiencing hearing loss, or what should be some things that should tip them off to maybe come see you?
Good question. So a lot of times patients will tell me, I hear, I just don't understand. Or they'll say that they have difficulty hearing in background noise, which again, with the holidays, lots of time with family and friends. People will also feel like others are mumbling around them.
Okay.
Or they may even be experiencing tinnitus, which is a form of ringing in the ears, and that oftentimes coexists with hearing loss.
Interesting. So what should someone do if they think that they're experiencing hearing loss? Or maybe is it something that's kind of like people are probably in denial about and probably don't want to come see you? Should they come see you anyway?
Yes. So the most important thing is if you have any concerns, or if your family and friends are telling you that they have concerns, come on in, see one of our audiologists. We'll do a comprehensive hearing evaluation. From there, we'll be able to determine, is there hearing loss present? If so, how severe, what type? We'll look at your lifestyle, and then we'll be able to make appropriate recommendations for how you should proceed.
Very interesting. So what is a hearing loss screening like? Is it just like listening to the beeps, kind of like I've seen in commercials, or what does that all entail with a meeting with you?
So that's part of it.
Okay.
So we like to start with a very thorough case history, get an idea of your medical history, what's happening in your day-to-day life. Then we'll take a look at the ears. We want to make sure there's no, wax impaction there. We will go into the sound booth and do the raise your hand when you hear the beeps. We also do some speech testing because we want to know how well you can discriminate sounds. And then we also like to do some testing in background noise as well. We understand that your everyday life is not sitting in a soundproof booth, so we do some speech and noise testing too.
Interesting. So you brought up a good point that, sometimes a family member will encourage you to go get a hearing test done, a friend or a family member. How would someone approach that topic? Because it can be a very sensitive thing, so something people probably don't want to admit that they're having trouble with, that it's everyone around them, they're mumbling or they're not speaking loud enough. How do you approach that subject with a loved one?
So just, remembering that communication is a two-way street. Approaching it, out of a place of love, and, we want to have that connection with you. We feel like you're missing out on these things, and just being encouraging.
Very interesting. So what are the effects, or what can happen if hearing loss goes untreated, if someone doesn't come in and see you?
Great question. So we're finding a lot out about what happens when hearing loss is left untreated. There's a lot of mental health impacts that can happen.
Interesting.
We find that people just start withdrawing. They don't want to go and do those things because they can't participate. So if they can't hear, why should they go do that? So it can lead to some depression, anxiety. Hearing loss also, untreated hearing loss can also put you at a greater risk of falling. It can increase the risk of cognitive decline. Certainly for people who are still in the workforce, it can lead to just undue hardships in the workforce as well.
Very interesting. So what should someone do? Obviously, the holidays are a very busy time of year, I'm sure, for you and for many other people. What should someone do if they're in a difficult situation where, there is a lot of background noise, or they kind of find themselves going, I can't hear that well? How do they handle that situation until they can come in and see you?
Good question. So try to reduce the background noise as much as you can. So maybe finding a quieter area to communicate. If you are in a noisy situation, try to position yourself so that your back would face the majority of the noise source, making sure that you can see the faces of those you're communicating with. We rely on visual cues, whether we realize it or not, making sure that the area is well lit, and then don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you rephrase that?
Yep.
Don't be afraid to advocate.
Absolutely, there's no shame in that. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I do have one last question for you.
Okay.
I just want to know how common hearing loss actually is. Is it something that's very common that just happens with old age, or is it something that we can prevent?
So it can happen at any stage of life, but hearing loss is actually the third most common physical condition. It's twice as prevalent as cancer and diabetes, which is surprising to people.
That is very surprising. Unfortunately, we are out of time, Amanda, but where can we find you? How do we make an appointment with you, and where can we learn more?
So we're at Alliance Center for Hearing in North Bismarck. You can call us at 701-751-6232.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Amanda, for joining us. And make sure you stick around. We have more about a classic Christmas play coming to the Dakota State. More North Dakota Today.